Tonight's segment is being brought to you by Totally About Diabetes, which is a coaching, education, and support program for those with cardiometabolic conditions. Okay. And cardiometabolic conditions are anybody who has high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, cholesterol issues, and what we call truncal or central obesity. And that means if you have a lot of belly fat. All right. So that's what cardiometabolic um, diseases are. And the reason that I cover all those, because they're all interlinked, they all work together. So, and as a practitioner, I did not just treat diabetes. I also treated the high blood pressure, the heart disease, the cholesterol, and all of that. So that's why we encompass all of it, because over 70% of the people who have diabetes also have high blood pressure. And also there's a great number, it's over 50% that have heart disease. So that's why we treat all of it, okay? So tonight, what I want to talk to you about, even though the pandemic, hopefully we won't have a second wave. You know, there's a lot of people who clamoring, who chomping at the bit. And I understand people want to go back to work. Yes, you need to have your income coming in and all of that. But you need to look at your health. And hopefully the pandemic is waning. But the thing about it is your cardiometabolic condition is still there. That's not going anywhere. And you still need to take care of it. So what I want to talk to you about tonight is, okay, number one, you need to look at where are you? Where where do you where are you as far as your care is concerned? Where are you as far as if you have diabetes, is your diabetes under control? If you have high blood pressure, is it under control? If you have heart disease, is it controlled? So that's what we need to look at. Are you managing your problem? All right, because cardiometabolic conditions are chronic diseases. It's not like a cold where you catch it and it'll wear off and it'll go away. No, that's not what cardiometabolic diseases are. They are with you. So what I position myself to do is to provide you with the information that you need to make sure that you can take care of yourself the best way possible. All right. I talk about quality of life. And quality of life is meaning that you may have a disease process, you may have a chronic health condition, but you can live healthy with that condition. All you have to do is put in place the right behaviors, follow the right lifestyle, take your medicines, do the things you need to do, and you can live a long, healthy life. You can have a great quality of life. Now, there's a lot of people who have these conditions who do not have a good quality of life. I mean, they have had all kinds of complications, all kinds of problems that have altered the way that they are living, that have altered the way that they have to live. Um, Case in point, you can have bad circulation in your legs because your cholesterol is out of control and your blood sugar is out of control and your blood pressure is out of control, and you end up with bad circulation in your legs. Well, what happens there? It impairs the way you walk. You're not able to walk. You walk, but you can only walk for so far, and then your legs start hurting and you have to sit down. You're not able to, if you have children or grandchildren, you're not able to play outside with them because of your leg condition, because your circulation is bad. So that's what I'm talking about, your quality of life. That is not a good quality of life. So we want to look at what things you need to do in order to keep yourself healthy so that you can maintain a good quality, so you can do the things that you want to do without impairment. All right. So one thing I want to talk to you about tonight, and there's one, two, one, two, three. Three things I want to talk to you about. Number one is technology. Because because of the pandemic has forced a lot of practices to start adopting virtual visits, or what we call telehealth. And what that means is that if you have a smartphone and you have a computer, your provider will link up with you via those devices and do a visit over the phone where you do not have to go into the office. There's a good and there's a bad to that. All right. It's good that you don't have to go into the office. But the other thing is, it's limited as far as things that they can assess, things that they can check out, because there are certain exams that's done that can only be done with them putting their hands on you. All right, like listening to your heart rate and making sure your heart rate's okay, and also checking, and they can check to see about any swelling or anything with your ankles, or and doing lab work, that may be delayed because you're not going to be there in the office. So you still may need to go in order to get lab work done, and then you'll have to wait for the results to get sent back to you. So technology is changing. Technology is being added to the healthcare field more than we had anticipated. So your visits may be done by telehealth. All right. And the other thing that technology does, you use a meter. If you have diabetes, you have your meter in order to check your blood sugars. Well, that's technology. And then those numbers or those readings need to be conveyed to your provider in order for them to see how well you are in control. And if you have high blood pressure, the same thing. You need to have your blood pressure um, monitored in order to make sure that it is controlled, to make sure that it's in a safe range, because you don't want to be walking around with blood pressure too high. All right. And yes, there are times when your blood pressure can be sky high and you don't realize it because your body has adapted to that. So it's important that you get your blood pressure checked. So that's another technology piece. And I encourage anybody who has high blood pressure to have a blood pressure cuff at home. You can get the wrist cuff, but there's a certain way you have to use it in order to get correct readings. Or you can get the arm cuff. The arm cuff is digital, so you don't have to worry about trying to manipulate it. You just have to make sure that you have a cuff that's large enough to go around your arm, and then you press a button and then the reading comes up. Either one is satisfactory. All right. But that will help you gather information in order to make sure that you're okay, but also will help with the visit with your provider. All right. Also, the looking at what goal do you have? What plans do you have? Because contrary to popular belief, you are at the center of any planning. Any planning that is done, you need to be at the center of it. You are the one who we need your input to know in order to write out a good care plan, in order to set out what needs to be done. So that means that your input is needed. Gone is the day where You go in and you sit down, and the provider tells you what to do, and then you walk out. That's not the way it should be. It should be something where it's almost like a negotiation, where your I don't like that screen, where your provider will find out from you, okay, what are your likes and dislikes? What is your daily routine like? What what kind of foods do you like? All of those types of things need to be taken into consideration before making recommendations. I went to a meeting one time, and there was a panel. There was a panel there, and one of the panelists said that he went to the doctor, and he said they had the blood work done. His blood sugars were out of control. He was diagnosed as having diabetes. And the doctor looked at him. He said, well, you need to lose weight. You need to exercise more. And you need to leave sodas alone and stay away from the junk food. And he set him up in order to see a specialist. Well, the gentleman said that the doctor never asked him about what his lifestyle was, what he had done or anything. Because come to find out, he didn't eat junk food. He cooked all of his food. He worked in a controlled environment, so he fixed his lunches and he took them to work. He runs marathons, so he runs no less than 10 miles a week. So he was getting plenty of exercise. He doesn't, and the stay away from the soft drinks and everything. He said all he drinks is water and unsweet tea. That's it. But the provider didn't take the time in order to find out from this gentleman what he did, or what his lifestyle was. So then that way they could have worked on a plan, and then also the doctor would have found out that there's something else going on if he's doing all of these things. And plus he didn't look like a typical, what they call a typical type 2 person with type 2 diabetes, because he was slender. He was slender, he was muscular. He did not look the picture of having type 2 diabetes, because most people think, people with type 2 diabetes is overweight, out of shape and lazy. He didn't fit the picture at all. So when he went to see the specialist, and the specialist sat down and talked to him and asked him his family history, got all kinds of information from him about his lifestyle, what did he do on a daily basis and everything. So the specialist told him, he said, he shook his head. He said, yeah, you have type 2 diabetes. He said, you just fell on the wrong side of the gene pool. And I know I used to tell patients that all the time, because if both parents had diabetes, and then they ended up with diabetes. And that's what I tell them. I said, you just got on the wrong side of the gene pool. I said, genetics got you both ways. So that's why I said that you need to be in the center. You need to let your provider know the things that you do. And if you're not doing things, also be honest about that. All right. But if you already exercise diligently, and the prime goal of exercise is like 150 minutes a week, so that's like 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And if you mostly drinking water, that you stay away from sodas, and that you stay away from junk food, well, you got half the battle won right there. But there may be some other things that's going on in your body that need to be addressed. So that's why I say you need to be at the center, because in that way you can give all the information that is needed in order to develop an effective care plan. All right. But you need to have a provider that you can talk to. And number two, you have to be willing to be open and honest. It calls for transparency. All right. And then the third thing is to, after all of that is done, to set out a plan, to set out your own personal plan, that something that you can work with. And the thing is, your personal plan is not written in stone, because you have to see what works and what doesn't work. So it's fine. Like one week you say, okay, I'm going to, if you hadn't been exercising, hi, thank you for coming in. If you hadn't been exercising, say, I'm going to start this exercise plan. I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk for 30 minutes every morning. Okay. You do that maybe about 3 days a week, and then you say, no, I can't do this and go to work on time. So you can always revise your plan. It's not written in stone. But the thing is, the number one thing is that you have the information that you need in order to know how to do a good plan. And that's why I come in. All right, because that is my purpose in life, in order to inform you, to educate you, and to inspire you to lay out a plan for your life. Because my goal is to help you live a good life, to help you have a good quality of life. It doesn't do any good to just exist. You want to be able to enjoy your life. And the way you do that is by taking care of yourself, keeping your numbers down, keeping your numbers in control. Then that way you feel better. All right. So those are the three things I had for you tonight, to talk about the technology, and also that you are at the center of making a plan with your provider. And the third thing is setting out your own, then setting down your own plan. What will be your routine, how you're going to make things work for you. Okay. So that's what I wanted to come in and talk to you about tonight, in order to let you know. And this is May. So I challenge you to sit down and work out a plan for the next 2 weeks. Okay. If you have blood sugar, if you have diabetes, check your blood sugars and see what you need to do in order to keep them in control. If you have high blood pressure, same thing, check your blood pressure, and then work on the things that you need to do to keep your blood pressure down. If you have heart disease, or work on whatever your cardiometabolic condition is, in order to bring it in better control. And you will find that you will feel better once you start implementing some of these things. If you increase your water intake, if you stay away from junk food and add whole foods, just doing those things, you will start feeling better. Okay. All right, so that's my challenge to you, to work on a plan to implement for the next 2 weeks, and see how you do. And then report back and see how it is. And any questions or comments you can leave on my Facebook page, Totally About Diabetes, or Cardiomet Conditions, either one. And leave a message, leave questions. And also, if there's anything you want to know about, if there's any additional information that you want, put that suggestion in there for me. All right, put that suggestion in, and I will be more than happy to cover the topic, whatever it is. Okay. All right, so everybody have a great weekend. Be safe. All right. If the numbers of infections are still going up in your community, be safe out there. It's best to wear your face covering and everything, because um, you want to you do not want to run the risk of getting the infection. Okay. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye bye.